JP, lighten the fuck up, but go hard at it. All right, so let's do another non-sound effect episode just to kind of catch up and give you an update on what I talked about in episode 9. So this is not the weekly thing. This is just like a follow-up because I feel like I have to, again, say it out loud, get it out of my head. So first off, thank you to everyone that provided me some support from Discord and through direct message on Instagram. It's really what I needed because I don't know. Yeah, I have a. Hopefully, you can relate. Just when you keep these thoughts in your head, it doesn't really help. Like you got to say it out loud. So saying it out loud in a podcast is cool, or it's not cool, but it's something. But unless I get feedback. I'll just speak personally. Unless I get feedback, it's still in my head, really, even though I've recorded it. So getting feedback and thoughts and support from people, positive and advice and stuff, like it was really helpful because it was nice to not feel like I was handling this shit alone or my thoughts alone, my doubts and my all the shit that I shared in the last episode. So thank you for the people that gave me support. It really helped. Like seriously, it helped me a lot. So let's just give you a little update. Today's Tuesday. It's been just 2 days. Wow, it's been 2 days since my last episode. But a lot's been going on. So I'll start here. So my decision at this point is to put Scolders on hold, at least. And honestly, I might be done with it. I'm going to put it on hold, though, and I'm going to switch over to Astropig and play around with that. And I'll talk about why as I go on here, but I feel like that's the best thing for me right now. Yeah, it feels right. It feels right. So the Astropig, the script is basically done. It's done. I mean, it's a very workable script right now. I could draw, and it would be a book and ready to go. There's still room for it to grow. The ending's okay. I'm kind of iffy about the ending. I don't know how much of a kid's book I want this to be. The way it ends is, I mean, it works. So it works. I mean, it's I think it's worth drawing right now and worth putting together. And through that process, I might think of a different ending. But overall, it's a good ending. It's good for kids and families, and it's good for kids that have that might be struggling with like emotional impulse control kind of issues. So I mean, I think there's a lot of value to it the way it is. I like it. I think it's hard to to go from Scolders where it was like swearing and heavy violence and blood, and to go from that to a book where none of that's happening. So I think I feel like I'm missing that R-rated stuff, but I gotta let that go. So the issue with Scolders, if you listened last time, and is not like it's too much work, or my brother and I are having an issue about it. I don't. He doesn't even know how much I've spent thinking about this issue. He and I have talked about it, but he's supportive of me doing Scolder stories. It's nothing like that. It's not like it's too much work and I'm giving up on it at all. The issue is that it's not completely mine, and I think I made that clear in the podcast that in episode 9, it's not. It is mine. Well, it is mine, but it's not. I don't have complete control over the Scolders, and that's the whole fucking point. So my brother is doing mixed martial animals, which is super awesome. It's got this great Ninja Turtle vibe to it, and I wish him nothing the best. But he's got Scolders in it, and he's letting loose on it. So it's hard for me to watch that happen. But that I mean, but I could like that we could separate those two projects and be fine. It's more like me realizing again, like it's not complete. It's not mine. It's not mine. It's his idea, and I was just borrowing it really. So I can't. It's not totally mine, and I have a big problem with that. And I think that's also why I have no interest whatsoever in drawing somebody else's comic book or story, or actually maybe a kid story. But I don't have any interest in doing work for hire. Really, I have no interest in doing a portfolio for Marvel or DC or whoever the fuck. I just like none at all because it's not mine, and I'm not dependent on the money for it. So like if I'm putting this much effort into creating something, I want it to be mine. You know. And like I think I said, even if something came of Scolders, I would always know it was a borrowed idea, and I hate that doesn't feel right to me. Like I'm gonna live once, and I want to maximize my amount of happiness and productivity, connection with others. And if I'm gonna do something and know that I'm borrowing it, I could do better than that. I'm creative enough to do better than that, so I'm not gonna half-ass it. And as much love as I put into Scolders stories, it's a borrowed idea. I can't live with that. So, well, I can live with it, but I don't. I'm choosing not to. So, one of the things that Gary V talks about, Gary Vaynerchuk, is self awareness, and I didn't. He says it a lot, and I don't think I ever fully understood what that meant up until more recently. But it's just being aware of yourself and how you, especially how you work and what you want. So I made this little list of of things that I know are important to me that I realize these as I go on with talking about my process. Especially through the podcast and through Discord, I'm realizing what my priorities are that I didn't realize. So the first one is control. Like whatever I'm doing, I have to have complete control over it. This is something I've definitely been aware of. Like with Scolders issue 1, I didn't like wait. I had hired a colorist, a phenomenal colorist, but it was taking too long, so I took control. The same thing happened recently with the podcast design logo for the logo. I hired someone, and he was moving pretty quickly on it, but it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. So I just took control over it, gave him his payment, and that's ended up working out. I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's ended up working out pretty well. Um, but I have to have control, and part of having control, well, actually, is ownership. If I own something, I control it. So with Scolders, I don't completely own it. Therefore, I don't have complete control over it. So my self awareness is that control is very, very, very important to me. And it doesn't matter why, it just is. I don't know why, but it just is. Um, so I'm gonna maximize that rather than being like half-assed about it, or what's the word people use? Oh, in moderation. Rather than doing control and moderation, whatever that might be. I don't do things in moderation very well. So rather than, like trying to dumb that down, I'm going to go all in on it. Having control is really, really important to me. So I'm going to own that. I'm going to do it. The other thing is having ownership over whatever I work on. That's really important to me as well. I want to have, because I want to have control, but I want to own something. I want to be the one person who decides whether that one thing gets published or is in digital format or gets bought or the rights licensed. I want that to go through me and me alone. I don't want to be accountable to anyone else. As much as I love my brother, I don't want to check in with him. I don't want someone else hiring me for a book and checking in with them or doing the work for them and they own it. Which I have nothing against that. It's not for me. So I have to have ownership of whatever I'm doing. And I have to have whatever I'm working on. I want to be able to build on it. I'm open to doing like a short story or an issue or a book, but I want to have control. I want to have ownership because I want to be able to build upon it. And that might be doing teasers or process stuff. But if I'm working for someone else, then I can't show everything. But if it's mine, I can show everything and I can build upon it. So that's again control and ownership. But after book one of Astropig, if when I finish it, um, I might want to do another and continue to build upon that without feeling like I'm borrowing an idea from someone or that I'm borrowing someone else's content. I want it to be mine. I want to build off of my own thing. And something else I think is important is, yeah, I think it is, and I'm just realizing this right now how important it is. Is I want to create something that my kids can read and enjoy, and that I can do with them. I felt like Scolders was for me, really. I enjoyed it. I like the violence. I like the R-rated shit, but I couldn't share it with my kids. I could, but I'd be a shitty parent. I chose not to share with my kids. Actually, I'll no judgment. If you let your kids watch rated R stuff, that's your judgment. But for my family, it's not what we do. So the fact that I spent so much time on something and I could not involve them and I could not share it with them and they're like my whole world, that doesn't go together for me. So I'm realizing it's part, self-awareness is that something that involves my kids or getting them involved in it, like getting their feedback on it. Like maybe I'll let my daughter read the script for book one of of Astropig and like get her feedback. Or help, let her help me out with like character designs or my son or whatever. That's a lot more attractive to me than like working on something in secret and then hiding it from my family. Like it's just my wife doesn't give a shit about Scolder stories either. Would be a lot. She is a lot more interested in Astropig. So that just it fits my family. It fits my lifestyle, and my other career, Astropig would fit with that because I work with kids that have mental health issues. I keep those lives separate, but if I ever did choose to combine my art life with that other career life, Astropig is a safe way to do that. I could attach my real name to Astropig and not Justin Prime, and I wouldn't feel concerned that a parent would find it and think I'm a weirdo. But if a parent of a kid I was working with found Sculpture Stories and my name on it, they'd be like, "You're working with my kid." So yeah, that's just a whole nother level to it that I'm realizing right now. So it just Astropig fits my life, not just me as a person, although I do enjoy it. Sculpture Stories fits me in a selfish way or in a self-interest way, not selfish, not in a negative way. But Astropig fits me in all of my life. That's crazy. What's actually what fuck? I've talked about doing private practice therapy stuff, and that was a route I never really explored. But Astropig is a route to that. I could do. I could build off that toward private practice therapy stuff, or with parenting. Working with parents. I love working with parents. So damn, I mean, like it's just. I'm actually getting kind of excited. That's what she said. But that fits. Yeah, that's so that fits. That project fits into my life and builds connections to my other areas of my life. And I have compartmentalized all these areas of my life rather than finding a way to connect all of them. And if I ever wanted to, Afterpick would be a way to do that. And then I could bring that other stuff into my art life. I don't know if I want to, but I could. Like it's a safe way to combine everything. Although I'd probably have to start my social media all over because all that violent stuff is still there. I wouldn't want kids seeing that. Like autistic kids don't need to be seeing that shit. Um, Not just autistic kids, but any young children don't need to be seeing heavy doses of violence. All right, but you get the idea. All right, fine. Moving on. So control, ownership, something that I can build on, and something for my kids. That's Astropig. It's not Sculpture Stories. And then this podcast is really, really important. I'm very aware that this podcast might be more important than creating. It's weird because I'm putting a lot more time and energy and community building into this than I am with actually making a book. Maybe because I was working on the wrong project. I'm curious to see how I start working on Astropig now. But the podcast is very important to me. So that's just another self awareness thing for me. And finishing stories is important to me. I think, and honestly, I'd rather finish them in a more timely manner. Because with Scolders, I was doing a book a year, maybe, and that's just ridiculous. And like, I want to create stories faster. Astropig will allow me to do that because it's not a true comic book format. It'll be more tailored for kids and parents and families. Um, so I think I'll be able to produce them faster. And with kids' books, you have a lot more leeway as far as standards and backgrounds and whatnot. I'm gonna definitely amp up my standards, but yeah, I mean, I'll definitely keep my standards pretty high for it. So, but yeah, like finishing stories is important. After Pig, I'll be able to finish those. I think faster. I think, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, Also, self awareness. Money is not important to me. I don't know why I put that there, but I did. Like, it's just not important to me at all. As far as my art life goes. Um, I don't know. It's just something I'm aware of. So I guess maybe what I'm saying is that the financial aspect is not should not does not need is not a part of my decision making process for now. If opportunities come up or I find opportunities I can take advantage of, maybe. But right now, it's just not a priority for me, and I don't know how that plays in anything. But just saying, I guess it gives me the freedom to choose. I don't have to take on projects that aren't mine. It gives me the freedom because I have a good job. So does my wife. We get paid well. Um, our life right now is pretty comfortable compared to what it has been. Uh, Even with our shitty, crazy amount of student debt, we're doing well. So that gives me the freedom to do whatever I want with my art time. Um, I don't have to choose stuff based on getting paid. So I'm gonna maximize that. If I get to choose whatever I want, I should pick the thing that's gonna bring me the most satisfaction and happiness and achievement. And Scolders felt good, but it was isolating, as I explained earlier, and it was borrowed content. So even with my positive feelings about it, it wasn't pure. Astropig will give me that pure sense of achievement that I'm looking for. Achieving something. I'm trying to see if I'm going to talk about this later on. I have a little outline here. I'll just go into it. Achieving something for me is a very, very big deal. My whole life, I don't feel like I've actually achieved anything. I have a family. We're happy, good family, good kids. They're in good schools. Um, Great job. We get paid well. Uh, my wife and I both contribute to people who really need it, which is feels good. Um, I mean, there's a lot of like I couldn't ask for any more. I could easily live that life and watch TV every night with my wife, or watch movies and dick around and play video games, and I'd be fine. But I wouldn't feel like I achieved anything. And the reason for that, and these are petty problems, I know, but the reason for that is because I followed the life script that I was told when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we were told, get married, have kids, do the career, buy a house, blah 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 blah. And I have followed that to a fucking T. No one ever told me in high school that I could do things on my own. I could do my own business. They never told me how. It was always you're going to do this, and then high school, and then college, and then job. And I did that. I picked a safe career, and luckily I picked one that I'm actually into. Um, but I followed the script, and it wasn't my script. I didn't know that. No, like I didn't know I had a choice. In my family, and this is a not a problem. I'm lucky that I had my parents who were incredible, but my dad worked and my mom stayed at home and raised the kids. It was a very, very traditional and probably pretty outdated model of family that I'm following, and I love it. But my dad worked for other people, They never really. My parents didn't ever attempt. Well, they didn't do any. They weren't entrepreneurs. They weren't millionaires. They didn't seek that out, and I don't have that mindset either. That's actually yeah. Uh, but what's funny is my parents worked. My dad worked and made money. My mom did a little bit, but not most. For the most part, she didn't. But I mean, she worked as a house or a stay-at-home mom. Um, so my dad, yeah, so they would do that, like very traditional nuclear family kind of thing. And then they always had a side thing that they called crafts, where they would make, crafts and resell them. But that was like their art thing. And that's what I saw growing up, was they always had this art thing, this craft thing that they would do in the evenings, and they would sell it at like garage sales or like the school, like what the fuck, like all the parents would get together, not all the parents, but a bunch of parents would get together in the school gymnasium and have tables and sell their shit, like books or whatever they made by hand. It was like a craft fair, like a maker's fair, I guess. And they would do their thing, like, and that's what I was doing with conventions, and that's every day I'm doing my crafts, my art at nighttime. So I'm following their model. Um, and I didn't know otherwise. I didn't. That's all I know. So what I'm realizing is that has left me with this feeling of needing something more, and it's achievement. I don't feel like I've achieved anything. I've just followed the script. So that's I don't know. That's something I'm very aware of, and it's a feeling that has gnawed away at me for years. And my wife was like, what? Why do you? What is wrong? Like, you have a family, you have this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but I was supposed to. I did what I was supposed to, and luckily, I found a wife I love, and I love being a dad. So it's not like I'm begrudging this stuff, but um, I haven't gotten that level of achievement. Creating the comics, Sculpture Stories 1 and 2, and writing and developing and all the stuff I was doing felt good. I felt some level of accomplishment, but it was on a borrowed idea. So the feeling of achievement was not there. I'm hoping that if I pursue Astropig, that it will be there because it's mine. I from the ground up, it's mine. Um, so I'm hoping that'll be an avenue toward actually feeling like I've achieved something or like I've accomplished something. I've gone to college. I've graduated twice. I have a master's degree in psychology, but still, I'm like, I don't feel proud of that at all. As a licensed therapist, I'm like, it doesn't do it for me. I have to create something. So that's a big part of self awareness. Is I have to create something that's mine, that I can build from the ground up and build into something fucking spectacular. And I haven't done that yet. So what's cool, I think, so combining that with the fact that money is not a driving force for me, that gives me the freedom to really create something that I'm really proud of, just for the creation, just for the process, and just for the impact that it can have on people. And I think that's a great springboard to, I don't know what, but something. Yeah. So all those things combined, I mean, I think Astropig is the way to go. I think right now I set the bar really high with Scolders. I wanted to do a 6-issue arc. And that was just for my first run at comic books. That was probably a bit too high. Um, and I saw other artists giving advice of just doing an issue. I should have seen, I heard that advice on some YouTube video, and I blew it off thinking like I knew better. But really, I should have kept it simple. I should have done my 10 pages that I originally planned out and moved on to do my own thing. But I got so in love with the universe, the ideas, that I kept rolling with it. Um, so I think at this point I should do a manageable story that ends. And each book of Astropig builds off the last one, but each one does have an ending that can live by itself. That's probably where I should be. I should be doing that, or I should be doing mini stories that I can compile into a bigger book. Blackfly Press does this. And I saw what he showed a issue. I think 1 and 2 of Arsenal, and it was cool. It was just such a cool idea to have these mini stories. It seemed fun. It seemed doable. So I should be doing that, or just a book at a time. Or even like I was reading books to my son tonight. We read the fuck was it? It was Little Red Riding Hood. So I was thinking, why not go into these Creative Commons stories that are so old that anyone can use them and develop those into a story. And over time I could compile those, but I mean, just as like a one time thing, I can do all these stories that are sitting there for anyone to use. And yeah, again, that is kind of like a borrowed idea thing, but it's Creative Commons. I guess I feel a little bit more okay with that. I'd rather do my own thing. I'd rather do Astropig, but putting my visual spin on a timeless story is kind of an intriguing idea. So, those are my pieces of self awareness that I think I need to really respect, and I also need to maximize. So, control is important, ownership is important, having something to build on, doing something that involves my kids and other facets of my life. Um, I would like, I think, yeah, whatever. I'll take a. So, doing things that connect other facets of my life, at least potentially. Doing the podcast is important to me. The money is not important to me. Finishing stories is important to me. Doing something that's manageable, that is probably where I should be. So this is my self-awareness that I have so far. Now, and so I need to maximize those. If I continue with Sculpture Stories, it's not going to maximize those at all, really. I don't think any of them. It's fun, but it ignores all of those pieces of self-awareness. So I can do issue 3 of Sculpture Stories, but with this in mind, now that I know this and I'm saying it out loud and it's recorded and you're going to hear it, especially like how can I do that? How can I continue? So that's why I'm saying Sculptor Stories is honestly it's probably done, but I'll say it's on the shelf for now. Um, so since Sunday when I recorded episode 9, I've been doing a lot. I've been busy. I've been definitely maximizing my time. I've got a new logo going for the podcast. I think as of Sunday, I had been developing it, but you've probably seen it by now. It's not done yet, but I really like where it's at. The colors are kind of cool. It's not what I expected, but I have like an orangey and bluish thing going. Stupid ass dog is going crazy. Hang on a second. Ginger. Sorry. You can just hear her stupid little claws all over the damn floor. That dog bugs me. All right, sorry, super distracted right now. All right, so I've continued to develop a logo. So what I said last week, and it's just to follow up, what I said not last week, last episode 9, was that I had taken over the project and paid the guy and kind of moved on. So what ended up happening was I did take it over. I was producing faster. I had a color scheme that kind of formed. Um, so since then, I've abandoned the Venom symbiote look to it that I had. You might have seen my original sketchy version of the logo of the microphone with the Venom symbiote kind of in wrapping it up, enveloping it, coming to life. I let that go because Venom is not mine. I like to draw Venom, but it's not my character. So I'm not going to have that in my logo for my thing. I think it'd be fun to do like a variant logo every now and then with Venom coming out. It kind of makes sense, but for now, as the standard, it's not going to have the Venom symbiote. The other thing that happened was so the person that I'd hired to do it, his name is Sean Beyonce on Instagram. It's all one word, Sean Beyonce. I actually he's a friend of mine. I consider him a friend. We live in the same city. He actually did an interview with me. I think it was interview number 4. He has his own independent comic that he's getting published. Well, he actually has a couple. He has a comic called The Original, which is really cool. And if you can read those, do so because you see him grow from issue 1 to 2 to I think 3, maybe 4 was the last one, but it's his growth was tremendous through the series. It's kind of cool to see. But he right now he's getting published through Action Lab with Kid Sherlock. He had a 4-issue run with that. I believe it's done, and I think it's coming out as a graphic novel soon. So anyhow, I did an interview with him, and you should be following him, I guess is the point. He's a good artist. He's really talented. He's good at logos. So anyhow, I paid him and basically took it over because I kind of knew where I wanted it to go. So I got it together, and there was something missing from it, and I realized that the symbiote stuff was gone, but that left something missing. And I thought, having some like art tools, because it's an art podcast, especially for comic creators, having some art tools in there, kind of behind the microphone, like crisscrossing it, would be really cool. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, uh, the money that I paid you, the $200, would it cover these things?" And he wrote back to me saying, "That was my original idea. I wanted to have the microphone with the tools behind it." And he's like, "I'm like, no way, like get GTFO." And he said, I'll show you a sketch." So he sent me a sketch through text, and it had these different ideas he had sketched out, and one of them was like with different, like a pencil and uh like a calligraphy pen, not calligraphy pen, but some sort of a quill pen or something like that. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what you call it. But he had these art tools fanning out from the mic. So he's like, he thought I wouldn't like it, so he never showed me it. But that was his initial first idea. So that's that. So that worked out so far really well. And he said, yeah, he would do a couple of the tools for me, um, and get back to me. And today he checked in with me saying it was taking a while, and I was like, yeah, I've already got a version of the logo that is working okay, so I'm not rushing you. And he goes, okay, cool. Just give me some more time, and I'll consider that your payment rather than asking me for more money. Um, and so we're good there. And he's pitching in and helping out with tools behind the mic. It's gonna look really cool. So that's happening. You may have noticed that I am now using that logo pretty much everywhere. I want this logo to be my brand image. I want people to know this. The sculpture logo is gone. I've pretty much removed that everywhere, I think. Um, yeah, so it's the podcast logo. That's my thing now. I want people to know that image. Um, so tonight I started doing some changes. One of them is what the actually recently, since since Sunday, I've been doing some changes. I've been going back to doing some practicing with values and color. I've been doing some bust sketches and just kind of clear my head. It's been really fun. Um, the new podcast, I'm using it logo. I'm using it everywhere. I made these things called podcast or Jprimecast unlocks, and that's where it's just kind of like a way for me to pay, just to like let people know I appreciate them listening, being members of Discord, doing interviews with me. So it's just something for them to share on their social media. So it helps me out, and it's hopefully a way for them to feel like they've contributed and that it means something to me. So if you're listening, let me know, and I'll send you one of these unlocks that you can share with your friends and followers if you want. No pressure. I've also asked the Discord community that if they hear any quotes from people I interview or talk with, that it really speaks to them, like send it to me in a DM, because I want to, the people that give me their time, I really want to make sure that they're getting value out of it and give them something for them to share on their social media, something that they said that was insightful or helpful or brought value to people. So that's hopefully in the works. I hope people contribute. Um, I've also changed my social media name. It's no longer Justin Prime on Instagram. It's The Art of Justin Prime, and that matches my website, theartofjustinprime.com. Also, yeah, that's it. Oh, then on Vero also, it's The Art of Justin Prime. I want things to match throughout my platforms. I think I'm really kind of going hard on the brand awareness right now. Um, that's been a big thing for me the past couple days. Yeah, so the Scolder logo is going to be disappearing, and the fact that I was doing that tells me like I'm just ready to move on. So yeah, and then I've also looked at the Astro Pig script. I did that tonight, and I'm overall really happy with it. Let me take a break. I'll come right back. I don't know why I say I'll be right back. You have all I have to do is stop it. You'll have no idea if I'm camera went, but whatever. So apparently, my other idiot dog, got locked outside. We got this new doggy door insert, and they're getting used to it still. They're fucking idiots. And the biggest idiot one, got locked outside and was tapping on it. So my other idiot one was like going crazy for some reason because her idiot friend got locked outside, and my wife woke up from all the noise, came downstairs, so I'm very distracted, but we'll get back to it. So in the last podcast, I mentioned a client of mine, and I'm not going to go. I don't want to talk about the client in particular at all, or her situations, because I think it's wrong. But the point here is that she had mentioned some difficulties she was having in her life, but the way she accepted it was by saying, "Well, it's just another branch." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, like a tree from a branch. You're the tree, and then you go off in different branches in your life. You just try it out." And that's how she was looking at this hardship in her life. Was it's just another branch. It's a new experience. Um, so that's why I brought up my client. I lost. I couldn't remember why, but that was it. So for me, it's just, well, what she said. The different routes in life that we take or try out, they're just branches. I'm the trunk. I'm still me. Just I'm going off in different directions. Um, I think it's being planted in the ground. I think being the self awareness, maybe, as I'm just thinking about this, maybe self awareness is kind of what keeps us planted in the ground, keeps us stable and rooted. So I think I'm kind of like maximize that self awareness and those roots. So Scolders was a branch for me, and I'm saying it was 'cause I think I'm done with it. It was a branch. It was, and that branch had all these sticks and twigs coming off of it. But through Scolders, I learned a ton of shit. Panels and pages and page sizes and all the standard stuff. I got to experiment with panels. I got to learn speech bubbles and narration and writing and all kinds of stuff. It was wonderful. It was exactly what I needed. Um, and now that I know differently, I'm gonna go off on a different branch. So that's it. It was an experience. Um, yeah. Other things like YouTube, my YouTube channel, which is pretty much dead right now. Um, the podcast, these are just branches for me, and now I've realized that the YouTube branch is not something I want to hang out on or grow in, and the podcast branch is one that I want to focus in. I want to let that one grow. so yeah, I think I've accepted that Scolders is dead. It's just a branch that's had enough growth, and now it's time to grow a new one. But like, in no way was this wasted time, like at all, because the skills that I learned in Scolders will directly translate and carry over to Astropig. Um, the design elements, the panels, because I will have, even though Astropig is a kid's book right now, I want to incorporate some comic book elements into it. Um, but I think especially like the concept design kind of thing, that's going to be a big part of Astropig design, creature design. That's going to be a big part of it. Here's another thing for me with self awareness. I hate buildings and cars and vehicles and ships. I hate it. My strength is more natural, organic shapes and movements and whatnot, and I think Astropig will allow that. Anyhow, so as far as maximizing my strengths, yeah. So Sculptures, like in no way was it a waste of time. It wasn't. It was huge growth. I feel like I've grown a tremendous amount. So, I mean, literally, those things will carry over to Astropig because for issue 3, I was working on landscape and concepts, species design, um, weapons and ships. Weapons won't be in Astropig, but creatures will be. Landscape is will be a big part of it. Uh, Species, like it's just all those things are going to carry over. You know what I mean? All that shit that I've spent working on the past few years on Scolders, it was really just the way I'm looking at it. It was just growth. It was just practice, and now it's time to put it towards my own thing. Yeah, that feels right. So I mean, it's not all a waste of time, but even if it was, fuck it, it's my loss. That's whatever. It's my L. It's my loss. Just like Gary Vee says, that's mine. I own it. Whatever. So I'm okay. Um, and I think the biggest thing here in accepting that that's my time with Scolders is over is that I think I'm actually going to feel some level of achievement and not from a borrowed idea. It's going to be mine. And I'm really excited about that. And hopefully that's what I feel there's a level of achievement that I can get to and I haven't. And so hopefully this will be it. I know it's a big deal to me. Like, I know overall in the grand scheme of life, especially I think with what I do and what I'm exposed to, this is a trivial, dumb issue, right? But this is my time, it's my energy. I've put a lot of frustration, thought, growth into sculpture stories. So for me in my life, it's been a very, very big deal. And it's something that I've used to connect to other people. It's a big deal. Like it's a big deal. Um, Overall, it's like, oh, and it was a big source of growth as well for me in a lot of ways. So overall, it's a trivial issue in comparison to other stuff. So that's why I'm telling myself, lighten up, JP, but go hard.